This is YUJI, the personal trainer. Recently, one of my clients, who has been training for about 6 months and is around 55 years old, mentioned something to me. He said he bought a polo shirt for the first time in 10 years. I was surprised and asked, "You haven't worn a short-sleeved shirt in 10 years?" He confirmed it, and I asked what he had been wearing instead. He replied that he had been wearing long sleeves, slightly rolled up. However, after 6 months of training, he has gained confidence in his body, so this year he decided to buy a polo shirt for the first time in a decade. I bought the process with a majority. It was said that this would come. This is something that makes me very happy, and I hope training can be like this. It's about further changing from the person I was before. As you continue training, you gain confidence in your body. I believe that as you start wearing t-shirts like this, you'll gradually increase your own style. What's important here is the triceps, and today I plan to focus on triceps training. When training, you have to work on various areas like the chest, back, shoulders, and legs, which means there isn't much time left for the arms. It becomes challenging because there are many other areas to focus on as well. Therefore, I want to finish arm training in as short a time as possible. However, it's necessary to use methods that yield results. That's why the approach is important. You need to consider high-level efficiency. For that, choosing the right exercises and the flow of the workout is essential. It's important to focus on the right exercises. It's not just about doing something, it's about performing exercises that have meaning and understanding how to arrange them in order to maximize effectiveness. Today, I want to approach the selection and flow of exercises at a high level. With that in mind, I plan to focus on 3 exercises targeting the triceps. We will attack with these 3 exercises. We will be doing contraction exercises, stretching exercises, and compound exercises. By incorporating these 3 different types of exercises in the sequence of contraction, stretching, and compound, we can efficiently target the triceps and achieve noticeable changes in a short period. I aim to make this happen. Now, while I mentioned 3 types, we will perform 2 sets of each, completing the routine in 6 minutes. The goal is to effectively target the muscles and achieve quick results within that 6-minute time frame. I would like to proceed with the training. First, we will start with a contraction exercise. When we talk about contraction exercises, the kickback is the most representative one. The reason this is considered the best contraction exercise is that the triceps are located just above the elbow, and when you bend and extend the elbow, the triceps contract and stretch. Moreover, the triceps also cross the shoulder joint, which allows for movement without having to flex the elbow. As we progress, you can now see the triceps. When this happens, the contracted black part is not visible. Just by doing this, it starts to contract. In other words, simply changing the angle of this position causes it to contract, so there is tension at this position before the kickback. This is the most effective contraction, but we won't be doing that this time. Instead, I want to focus on non-overlapping contraction exercises considering other movements. This will lead us to the side triceps extension exercise. For the triceps extension, we will be doing it with one hand. Normally, a one-handed triceps extension is performed like this, but instead of that position, we will turn it to the side. This is what we call a one-handed triceps extension done sideways. As you can see now, the key point is that the upper arm, from the shoulder to the elbow, serves as the axis. Well, an angle of about 70 to 60 degrees is good. It's not completely vertical, but slightly tilted. In this position, while keeping the elbows pointed towards the ceiling, you lower your arms straight out to the side of your body. It's not diagonal. You drop them directly to the side, creating a cross-like shape. While doing this, try to keep the dumbbell as horizontal as possible, using the back of your hand to perform what is called a reverse grip. When performing the one-hand triceps extension, you should push up while contracting at the top, and then lower it down. During this movement, try to keep your elbows as still as possible, fixing them in place and squeezing until your arms are in a straight line at about a 70-degree angle. Hold the contraction at the top before carefully lowering it back down. As you do this, when the dumbbell is upright, the back of your arm on the side of 3 o'clock will pull back. However, if you position the back of your hand this way and perform the exercise like this, it will significantly target the triceps on this side. The effectiveness of these 2 positions is quite different. In this position, it's easier to create the shape here, so when considering the next exercise to avoid overlapping, you should perform the dumbbell with the back of your hand facing up and sideways. Start with the triceps extension, And as you do this, when the outer part engages, you will notice it from the front view as well. This is definitely the most noticeable part. First, we need to focus on this area. Apply some strength to create a shape where the dips are clearly defined, which is the contraction exercise. Now, we are doing the one-hand triceps extension. We'll do one set on the right side, performing 10 repetitions, then quickly switch to the left side for another set. We'll keep going like this, doing one side for 10 repetitions in 30 seconds, and then another 30 seconds for the other side, so it will be 2 sets in about 2 minutes. This should be completed in about 2 minutes. The 2 exercises will focus on stretching, and one of them is the one-handed French press. For this, you hold a dumbbell like this, and first, you lift it straight up. Raise it directly overhead and stabilize it with the opposite arm. Make sure to keep it steady. The arm holding the dumbbell should remain fixed while you bend and extend, bending and extending. I want to keep the elbows fixed in a direction that points towards the ceiling as much as possible. In this position, we will bend and extend while keeping the core engaged to ensure that the lower back does not arch too much. When the dumbbell reaches horizontal, we will lift it up. The goal is to lower it as close to horizontal as possible. This is important for the stretching aspect. As I mentioned earlier, the tip back occurs when the arms are at the side of the body, parallel to the torso. I mentioned that this is the most contracted position. Now, coming to the French press, we come up to the point where the base is fully stretched, and at the same time we bend the elbow. At that moment, there is tension, so it stretches and the load is applied. It's a very strong exercise that you want to stretch. The previous triceps extension is an exercise where the load comes at the contracted position. This one, on the other hand, is an exercise where the load is heavily applied at the stretched position, making it the opposite type of exercise. And as I mentioned earlier, this one really targets the side quite effectively. If we continue in this state, the triceps will also be affected on this side, the back side. Therefore, to avoid overlapping with this exercise, we did it sideways earlier. If we were to perform the exercise with the dumbbell in a vertical position while keeping our hands in a chopping position, we would be working the same area repeatedly, which would lead to poor development on this side and an imbalance. That wouldn't look good. Moreover, it would be inefficient. So, at first we will perform the exercise with the dumbbell positioned sideways, focusing on this area as the main target. Next, by working in this direction, we will stretch this area. Without overlapping, we will proceed with the flow from stretching to contraction. By the way, what happens if we reverse the order and start with stretching before contraction? In that case, after contraction, the muscles won't contract due to fatigue. They simply won't contract. This is true for everything. For example, with arm curls, as you get tired, you stop contracting altogether, so it's better to do the contraction exercises first. After that, you can do the stretching exercises. This flow is important and can be done without any issues. So we will perform the one-hand French press in this position for 10 repetitions. After finishing 10 reps, switch hands and do another 10 reps. Then switch back again. If you do this for 30 seconds each, you can complete it in 2 minutes. Finally, as a compound exercise, we will do reverse push-ups. Many people might be familiar with reverse push-ups, but let's start from this position. This is the reverse push-up we're going to do. This exercise is classified as a compound exercise. What a compound exercise means is that, unlike previous exercises where only one joint is moving, in this case, both the elbow and shoulder joints are moving. This also engages the front of the shoulder a bit. So, while we are using some additional muscles, we are also utilizing them as assistance during the final push. Today, we will be focusing on a compound exercise with Nakaya. This exercise should be done at the end of the workout. First, we will do the contraction exercises. While using only the triceps, we will also slightly engage the front of the shoulder to make it easier to push the triceps even further. It's important to follow this flow. There is a key point to note regarding the chicken form. We need to keep our hands just in front, and our butt and lower back should be very close to the bench throughout the exercise. Do not let your chest drop. Lift your chest and keep your face up, ensuring your center of gravity does not shift forward. To avoid slouching, keep your chest elevated while performing the exercise, making sure your back and hips do not come off the bench. It's important to maintain a lifted chest without going too deep. Just go to the point where your wrists are directly above your shoulders. In this position, as your shoulders move up and down, the reverse push-up will primarily target the shoulders. The shoulder should be directly above the wrist, and you should feel like you are moving vertically above that point. When lifting the chest, Make sure not to hunch your back. Now, when you push down, it should feel like you are pressing straight down, which helps to really squeeze the triceps. Squeeze firmly until just before locking out. This is not vague. It should be a clear and tight contraction until the shape is well defined. It may feel painful, but that's the process of squeezing. When you do this, please use a form that makes it challenging to complete 10 repetitions. If you do it with a suitable form, it will fall apart. If you use a form like this, you could probably do 20 repetitions. However, that would be meaningless. Just make sure to keep your center of gravity back and your confidence on your back, ensuring that you don't lean forward. It's okay if you can't do 10 repetitions. The important thing is to continue with a form that makes the triceps feel tight. Even if you can only do 8 repetitions, that's fine. To avoid compromising your form in pursuit of that juicy number of repetitions, focus on doing the exercises in a way that feels incredibly challenging rather than just counting reps. This approach will lead to faster results. For the reverse push-up, we will do 10 repetitions, take a 30-second break, and then do another 10 repetitions. This will take about 1.5 to 2 minutes to complete. The first exercise will take 2 minutes, the second exercise will also take 2 minutes, and the third exercise will take another 2 minutes, totaling 6 minutes. We will perform 3 exercises for a total of 6 sets in 6 minutes. However, I believe that just doing these 6 sets for 6 minutes will really pump you up. If you do this twice a week, your triceps will change significantly by summer. Please try to finish this exercise in 6 minutes following this flow. I think you'll be able to wear a t-shirt stylishly. Alright, let's do our best with that in mind. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm also doing East and other workouts, so please follow me. This was your first trainer, YUJI.